get into IIM Ahmedabad, and all this investment banking, vagera. Basically, earn money. That's it. Okay. But then, as it turned out to be not the case, one of my school friends was also giving the examination, that is civil service examination. He had just given me one book. I mean, Amartya Sen, do you know? Amartya Sen, yeah. Back then, he had written one book. In that book, I found some very glaring statistics about the state of, or rather, the actual state of real India. We guys are actually not living in real India, to be very honest. Okay, we are in one island of, ideally, island of really good excellence is what IITs are supposed to be. But I saw a lot of statistics which was related to infant mortality rate, very, very bad statistics. So I asked this friend of mine. I don't know. I was just traveling to my workplace. I still remember on the OMR road, Old Mahabalipuram Road, Madhya Kailash, over here. You guys know a little bit of the topography of Chennai? No? First years? Acha, okay. So while I was going through that road, I just called him up and I asked one question, which is, if I were to make some change in this, not a huge change, but some change in it, what options do I have? He told, first, become a politician. Okay, that was the first option that my friend gave. I told, look, I am not from any big family background, neither do I have much of money, nor do I indulge in XYZ, whatever, that can't be mentioned. So therefore, the chances of me becoming a politician is pretty non-existent. Then I asked him what else is a possible option. He told, the only career option which will give you a direct possibility to work at these issues is the civil service career, nothing else. Okay, you can become a doctor and all of that, that's fine. That's at a very personal level you can do. But any sort of system level changes, you guys are all engineers. I'm also an engineer. Why engineers? And I get a lot of flack for this, huh? All these art students and all, they hate me when I say this in my classes. I have a huge engineering bias towards engineers, that is. The simple reason is, engineers look at everything through the lens of problem solution. ठीक है? वो जो black box होगा ना, like flow chart. Okay, this is the problem, what needs to be done. But with other graduation people, they will look at proliferating the problem. They'll add 3 more problems to the already one problem in existence. Arey, ye work nahi hoga, this won't work. Lot of things like that. So this is one reason why I feel engineers, especially from top-notch institutions, should always give a shot at career in civil service, because you guys are good problem solvers. And we need a hell a lot of good problem solving people inside the government. Right. So after that, after that incident, it took me 1.5 years to resign my job. I was in a decently well-paid job, and I was preparing for my CAT and everything. Now my path entirely changed. I still remember distinctly the last day when I gave my resignation letter, my team manager told, boss, you don't even know what you're getting into. Be very careful. I will keep this resignation letter on hold. If at all you feel that, civil service preparation itself is not going forward, you can always come back. And it so happened that way. Okay. First day after quitting my job, I was a person who never used to read newspaper and all. Never. My only newspaper thing was to be the last page. That to cricket. That's it. Nothing else. Because in that zamana, Sachin Tendulkar was the. You guys have Kohli and everything. My opinion on him is different. But I
Sir,
still. Yeah. But
sir,
I still think. Yeah.
sir,
Yeah.
sorry for interrupting, but about which year you are talking about?
I'm talking about my 2011, 2010, 11, that time. Okay. I grew up watching Sachin Tendulkar. So I have absolutely no idea what this newspaper and all. First day I take Indian economy. I started studying for civil service on my own. I didn't understand head or tail of inflation. You won't believe. Today I'm teaching all of that. That's a different story. Inflation, I didn't understand head or tail. I just ran inside my room, shut the door close, and I started crying. This happened really. I go tell people all these things shamelessly, because everybody at the end of the day is a human being. Just because people clear the exam, they don't reveal a lot of these things, what actually goes on inside them. Everybody will have those same jittery feelings before writing the exam, whether they'll clear or not. I'm answering his question. Agar clear nahi hoga to kya hoga, something like that. Even I was in that situation, and then it was a day by day disciplined kind of a struggle towards the final result. Okay, so this is the context that I want to give here. The point is, and you people are already cleared perhaps the toughest exam in the country. I will not rate civil service exam as the toughest exam. Again, I will not rate. I think JEE is perhaps a reasonably very good tough exam, and that too, for a 17-year-old and 18-year-old to take that stress is a different ball game. See, when you write UPSC, you're already 22, 23. I started writing it when I was around 25. By the time you're mentally mature to take up some stress in life, 17-year-old, 18-year-old, so you guys are already good in taking up that stress. So don't worry about those questions of what will happen, what will happen. If IITians can't survive in India, who else can? You're the top 1 percentile. Any day you will survive. So don't worry about survival. That should not be your idea. Your idea in life should be excellence. There's a difference, no? There's a difference between a fish which just wants to stay afloat. I'm like, okay, I should escape from the next shark or whale which is coming to eat me. That's a survival mode. That's for a lot of majority unfortunate Indians in India, unfortunately. But you guys should not worry about surviving. You guys should be concerned about excellence in any field. Be it tomorrow you're going to go into robotics, quantum computing, be it as it may. Excellence should be your attitude. It should not be survival. I might not say the same thing if I'm going to address a group of students who are probably, from a very, very, say, tier 3 engineering college. I will not speak the same language, because for them, they will have to get the confidence in life, then attempt the exam. It's like a 2-3 step process. But for you people, I don't think you should really be concerned about these things. Yeah. Any other questions, or anyone else who has to who wants to add something? You, the person who looked back, Ningadam. You. Okay.
Sir, when did you retire?
Who was the question? Who was the person who asked that question? Achha, no. I didn't retire and all. I resigned.
Oh, you resigned from
Do I
IAS
look like
post?
60? No.
No. Around 40.
Sorry?
Around 40.
Yeah, I'm 40. No.
So, sir, why did you resign from an IAS post?
No, I was in the Indian Revenue Service, IRS.
IRS.
So that was personal.
Oh.
I'm interested in teaching, so I thought I'll do that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sir, I had a doubt that, as we know, preparation for the UPSC exam as well as serving as a civil services candidate, not as a civil services officer, is difficult. Now, most of the times we might face a challenging task, like, for example, there is some kind of situation where you're in a dilemma whether to do something right or do that thing that your superiors are pressurizing you to. It gets pretty hard to stay on the right path. So, sir, what in that situation, how should a person maintain his integrity? because this would be a very good part in our ethics portion also.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So I will not be dealing with the actual ethics paper per se, because
Yes, sir.
there you will have to write some answers which are acceptable. So that's a different story. But in reality, what happens, I'll tell you. Unfortunate reality of the Indian politico bureaucratic system is there is corruption. Okay, that's a fact. I don't want to push you guys into some make believe la la land wherein nothing exists. No, it does exist, and it exists at a very very high level. But the caveat, you understand the word caveat? Caveat in the sense, the exception is, there is definitely space and scope for personal honesty. Now, how do you operate in this? So there is that framework which operates on the principle of self-interest and elements of corruption. This is the larger framework. And politicians in general, look at it from the politician's perspective. No, they will want to hold on to power. Correct. That's why they're getting elected and things like that. Now, here, what you should do is you should have a very delicate balance, in the sense that you can be personally honest,
Yes.
but you can't do a lot of changing of other people. That is where you go into wrong. They say, no, you don't rub people on the wrong side.
Yes, sir.
That's where it gets slightly challenging. If people are personally honest, they're not going to force you to become corrupt and this and that. You can be personally honest till the end, but will that actually translate into the system becoming non-corrupt? Difficult. I'm giving a very honest answer. But that should not be the reason why you become pessimistic about the system. There is a system, but there is a scope inside that system. That's where again this is where engineers find it very difficult to accept this gray zone, because we're always in that black and white Boolean logic thing, 0 1,
Yes.
right? uh, I mean, with the coming of quantum, I think that will change qubits and everything. uh, but once you start accepting that gray zone, where your understanding of what constitutes right and wrong is not very black and white,
Yes, sir.
maybe with age also you will start understanding that. But this will be the general dictum, wherein personal honesty 100% possible. But if you become a crusader against corruption, then the system will start taking its own things, a panga against you, as they say. Yeah, we can start.
Other participants, let us not watch the video.
Yeah, she's actually our core team.
So, okay.
Uh, Friends, Air 5 Akash Garg has also joined, and we have Srivatsan sir, ex-IRS officer and currently a mentor at Vajiram and Ravi IAS. So may I now request Shashwat to officially start the session and give the introduction. Shashwat is the Vice President of Adhyay Society, and I'm Johan, the Deputy Secretary of Adhyay Society.
Okay, so good evening, everyone. So, what's the your opinion about Samvad? How is going on? I think we have successfully conducted with our audience, but some have not joined because of the inauguration. So, I will try, and my team is trying my best. So, provide you all the things in this session. Okay. So, on behalf of Adhyaya Civil Services Society of IIT Madras, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to all of you for making today's event a truly enriching experience. First and foremost, a sincere thank you for our distinguished speaker, Mr. What's the- Akash Garg, sir, AIR 5, the UPSC CSC 2024, and the faculty member of Vajiram and Ravi IAS, Sri Srivasan, sir, is there. So, thank you to both of you for coming in this session. Yeah, it's today marks the beginning of a tradition we hope to continue of learning from those who have walked the path, faced the pressure, and come out victorious in the India's most challenging examination, the UPSC CSC exam. At the heart of the Mantrana is an idea that mentorship, shared experience, and authentic conversation are as important as a book and notes. And today we are truly honored to have someone who is personifies perseverance, strategies, and excellence. So Akash Garg's journey from an aspirant to one of the top five ranker in the country is nothing short of inspiring. He will be sharing with us not just his strategy and preparation technique, but also the mindset, the challenges, and the resolutions it takes to succeed. Before we dive into the session, I would like to take a moment to introduce a very special guest and mentor, faculty of Vajiram and Ravi IAS Chennai campus, Mr. Srivatsan sir, an esteemed faculty member and ex-IRS officer. With years of experience in both public service and UPSC mentorship, Mr. Srivatsan brings unparalleled insights into the examination and the life that follows. We are grateful for the presence and continued support in guiding the next generation of civil servants. This is an hybrid event for those who have missed this opportunity to join the Paradox 2025 offline at Chennai. So we are serving for both of the audience. Hope you all will like from the ICSR room 3 to your personalized room at your home residence. To all the participants here today, I urge to use this opportunity not just to listen, but to ask, interact, and connect. UPS is just not exam, it's journey. And learning from someone who has completed successfully is inevitable. Once again, thank you, Mr. Akasgar, Mr. Srivatsan sir, for gracing us with your presence. And thank you to Vajiram and Ravi for collaborating with Adhyay for organizing the successful event of Mantrana 1.0. And we will see some future events of Mantrana 2.0 and so going on. So I would like to call Mr. Srivatsan sir on the stage to enlighten us with the journey of UPSC CSC. Yeah, the event is officially not now started for all of the events online and offline. So sir, please come on the stage. Yeah, Johan, please.
All right. So we had already been doing an informal discussion. So first of all, I'd like to thank the organizers of this particular event for giving me this opportunity. It's really a pleasure and a privilege to be in IIT Madras, one of the institutes which I've always looked up to. So here, the topic for our discussion is regarding the civil service examination in particular and the civil service as a career option. Now, the first question that will come to any aspirant's mind is, why should one write the civil service examination, right? Apart from some answers that he had also given regarding, say, job security and things like that. Apart from that, that's a good personal motivation. My sense is perhaps one of the biggest reasons why young people, and that too from premier institutions like IITs, should give the civil service examination as a shot is the opportunity for showcasing one's leadership at a very, very young age. Now, I'll just give you a context, right? Imagine you finish your MBA from, say, any premier institute. You join a particular company, right? So what is going to be the first position that they're going to give? Most often it'll be something called as management trainee, irrespective of whether you do it from IIMs or any other institute. The first position that they're going to give is something called as management trainee. Now, this management trainee will be something like wherein you will be under the tutelage of some senior manager and you will be handheld through that process. And it is only after 4, I would say 5, 6 years that you actually enter into good real-time managerial roles. As a contrast, let's take the top two services, namely the IAS and the police service. Now, once you clear the examination, which is again a year-long process, we'll go into that particular process also. Once you clear the examination, you will have a foundation course, which is, I think you guys would watch a lot of videos regarding Masuri and everything. And by the way, I must mention, the foundation course is a very rigorous course. It's not just about enjoyment and enjoyment, right? So for a lot of people who have not gone there, they think it's only enjoyment, but it's a rigorous course of 100 days. Post which you will be go into your academic kind of training. Like the police people will go to Hyderabad, and the IAS people will stay back in Masuri. All put together, you will have around 16 months of training here and there, 16 to 18 months, along with a lot of field training that you have. Immediately after that, the first posting that you're going to get will be either an assistant collector or an assistant superintendent of police, which is called as ASP. Within 1 year, you will be given huge amount of responsibilities which are real time in nature. Imagine a 23-year-old, I mean, even assuming that you clear in your first attempt, 22, 23, by the time you're 24 or 25, you will be in charge of a good portion of a district. Now just do the math, India's total population, and if you average it out amongst all the districts, you are going to be in charge real time for the lives of so many people. No other career, and I can give this as an open challenge, no other career in this country is going to provide you that opportunity. So this is perhaps one reason why all of y'all should have a good shot at the civil service examination. Apart from the job stability, apart from social status, for instance, right? I don't know whether it's, how many of y'all are from Bihar and UP? Okay. So in Bihar and UP, there's always this saying where they say, you know, PM, CM and DM. How many of y'all have heard it? Right. I don't know whether it's the thing now. So that's the kind of mindset which is there, wherein still the sarkari naukri ka wo jo pull hai na, it is still there. It's not just about the question of social status, but it is also a ladder for social mobility for a lot of first time generation people. If you look at any year's IAS final merit list, you will find a very, very unique kind of a statistic, which unfortunately people have not really looked into. Often there is this kind of talk for people who don't clear the exam. They often say this, UPSC to you give money, you pass, there is corruption in interview, this, that and all. But you will find a distinct statistic wherein most of the people who top the exam, or most of the people who clear the exam, assume that they come in the final 1,000 list, most of them will be first generation bureaucrats. Their father or mother or their grandparents might not be part of the bureaucracy at all. This is a very, very important and a distinct statistic that people are not willing to see. UPSC as an institution and UPSC's process of conducting the examination is, I feel, one of the most, what can we say, integrity oriented processes. There is absolutely very, very less scope for any sort of corruption. So any sort of arguments that people make, right? You can do this, you can do that. It's impossible. And a living example is a person like me. I have absolutely no one connected to the government. My parents, absolutely no one connected. Yet, simply because of the fact that I was able to go through this exam process in a very diligent fashion, I was given the marks that I was given. Right? So first, remove any sort of negative kind of noise which comes in regarding the process. Because unfortunately, what is happening now with all this social media and all, people who don't succeed in life, they are deciding what is success, which is a very, very bad trend in India. Do not go by any sort of negative kind of things which are spoken of about UPSC. UPSC as a process, as an institution also, is a very, very highly integrity oriented institution. This is one. So once you have understood the reason as to why to write the exam, the next logical question is, what is the process, right? Now this exam consists of 3 steps. One will be your preliminary examination, wherein you'll have 2 papers. Most people might know it, but still, just to brief on that particular issue. Your preliminary stage will consist of 2 papers, your general studies paper and your CSAT paper. I think Akash will be able to detail on the strategy as to how to tackle it and things like that, since he has cleared it in flying colors. And the second stage will be your mains examination, wherein you will have to choose one optional subject apart from the 4 general studies subjects and 1 general essay paper, and your language paper and English paper. After clearing that, you will go into the interview, which is often called as the personality test, right? And just one point that I want to mention about this personality test. Again, with respect to this personality test, there is a lot of YouTube videos which come up, right? People ask some random questions. Propose to this bottle. I don't know whether you guys have seen it. Or, whatever, X, Y, Z. I am telling you, at least maybe Akash can also vouch for it. I was asked none of those questions. And I do not know from where this rumor is coming up. Okay, everything has become an advertisement now, unfortunately, right? UPSC is a very, very clear-cut process and they know it. 25 to 30 minutes, maybe Akash can also share his experiences later once he speaks. 25 to 35 minutes, that's the average time that a candidate is given. Within that 25 to 30 minutes, what is that they are going to assess? Tomorrow, if I am going to put this person who's sitting there as a candidate, as an SP or a collector, will this guy or lady be able to take on that role? Because a chair is not a non-living object, by the way. Once you sit in the chair, it actually becomes a living object in a very figurative sense. Can they take the demands of that chair? Because tomorrow when you sit in a collector's chair or a SP's chair, people are going to come and ask a lot of queries to you. What is the mental poise that you have? What is the mental stability that you have? So the questions that they ask also, you might not know the answer, right? They might suddenly ask, okay, fine, now this border dispute is going on between India and Pakistan, or Operation Sindoor, or whatever is going on. You might know the name, but you might have forgotten some operational details. It's fine. But what they are testing is this individual honest enough to himself or herself? If I don't know something, can you honestly say, yes, I don't know? It's human to not know certain things. It's fine. So ultimately, what they are testing out in the personality test is 25 to 30 minutes. That's all the time is there. They will have to check. And this is not some random job interview, by the way. This is not like you're going into some TCS, CTS, wherein you become a programmer tomorrow. No. Lives are going to be at stake because of you selecting this person or not selecting this person. Correct? If you end up choosing the wrong person and you make him a collector or SP tomorrow, imagine the problem that he or she might create. Possible? So therefore, the people who are sitting there are highly experienced people. They have put in 35, 40 years in the bureaucracy and from varied fields. So what they are checking out is, again, I repeat, leadership. Does this individual have the capability and the capacity to be in leadership positions? Now, once you get your service allocation and everything, then you will be given training and then you'll go on to the job. Now, where do we as an institute come in, Vajiram and Ravi? We have been there in this particular field for the past, this was started in 1976. It's going to be 50 years actually, 2026, once we land up in 2026. Now, and most of you all have written your JEE exam also, so I need not really talk a lot about the exam preparation process, right? Now, how is that you people cleared JEE whereas other people did not clear? My estimate or my understanding of that is, all the individuals might be equally intelligent, but there are some individuals who will crack the system. Ultimately, an examination is a system. Understand it very clearly. You might be extremely intelligent, but in an IIT JEE paper, you will have to do so many questions within the time. You cannot be like an Einstein wherein you can sit and think about the beauty of physics. It doesn't matter, right? If it's a sine wave or a cos wave or some sort of thing, you should know the formula immediately, and your mind, you should think on your feet, basically. UPSC as an examination is again a system. It might be a tough examination, but every system has a method in which it works. Now, where coaching institutes come into play is, there is something called as collective wisdom. Collective wisdom is something like, You as an individual might be looking at the process just from a very small perspective. But since coaching institutes have been training students for, I mean, even in Vajiram also, close to 50 years, that collective wisdom of what works and what does not work is there. There can be people who can be outliers. Now, the general rule usually is newspaper reading has to be done. This is the general rule for UPSC. But there can be few people who would have topped the exam without reading the newspaper also. But what should we go by? We should go by the general rule, not the exception. Because exceptions cannot be quoted as examples. You're able to see this? So that is where coaching institutes will come in very, very handy, because all of y'all are intelligent, no doubt about it. But where is that difference is going to come is there is a system and there is a grammar and a method to this madness. Once you're able to crack that, and Akash will be able to enlighten more on how he was able to do it. And ultimately, all individuals will have their own unique strategy. But even once when Akash says it, you will find there'll be a pattern. He would have taken proper notes. He would have revised the same book multiple times. He would have done a lot of test or answer writing practice. This is like a normal pattern that every topper would have done. Got it? So this is the final point that I want to make. Coaching institute or joining coaching institutes becomes a necessity for another reason, at least in this day and age of social media and information proliferation. In the days in which I used to prepare, which is around 2013, 12, 13, we had a limitation of sources, which is for every subject, maybe we'll have 1 or 2 books, and newspapers used to be the only source. But now, literally everybody is become a YouTube content creator, right? Just type Operation Sindoor on your YouTube box. You will have at least 100 videos as to how it happened. More than what the army has put, civilians have put about a military operation. So that's the level of content creation that is going on in India, right? Now, if you're not part of an examination process, all of this content is entertainment for us. But you're going to write an examination tomorrow, which means you will have to cull out content which is essential and non-essential. You can't keep randomly going through every other source which is possible just because it's coming from some website or YouTube channel. That is a second reason why coaching institutes will come in very handy, because they will compile a lot of information for you at one source. Then from that source, you can start doing your studying journey, right? So, and apart from that, third reason is there are a lot of programs that we also offer. One is our entire year-long program for the prelims cum mains kind of batch. And there is also this very unique program called as Step Up Mentorship that we offer. Now, what is this mentorship ultimately? Mentorship is something wherein you need some sort of hand-holding in some situations wherein you're not clear. That is what mentorship is. Everybody is intelligent, everybody is talented, everybody is hardworking, but there will also be ups and downs in your preparation, right? One particular week you will study a particular subject with a lot of zest and vigor, but the next week, and you guys might do it in your college exams also, right? In your entire semester or whatever system that you have. First week, whenever there is an interesting paper, you will be like hammer and tongs going at it. But then once it comes to a boring paper, then we all know generally what happens. Assignments will not be submitted, internal marks goes down. I mean, that's the thing that we used to have. So how do you manage it? That's where mentorship is required. Mentorship is not going to do some micromanagement. No. Mentorship is about hand-holding. There's a difference, right? Micromanagement is continuously coming and telling, okay, you need to do this, this, this. No. All of us are adults. What is mentorship is? Mentorship is giving a sense of direction when you lack direction. That's what mentoring is about, right? And since this process, even the UPSC process has become very competitive these days, right? Even in terms of quality of aspirants, even in terms of number of aspirants, number of years that aspirants are putting into the examination process, that has also increased, which means that it will be better if you can take the help of coaching institutes, such that your journey through this process is lightened a little bit. So with this, I conclude my limited talk that I had to give. Right. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for the insightful talk. And now we can have a talk from Mr. Akash Garg, All India Rank 5 UPSC 2024, and followed by questionnaire. You can ask questions, and both Air 5 and Srivatsan sir, both of them will give their own perspectives. Uh, Mr. Akash Garg can give his perspectives from his own preparation strategies and all. And Srivatsan sir will add his perspectives from the mentorship and also from his experience as an IRS officer. Yes, over to Akash Garg, sir.
Hello, yeah. Good evening. Am I audible?
Yes,
Is it
sir.
fine, everything? Okay. So most of the things I agree what Shivatsan sir had said. Like most of you would be knowing the pattern of the examination that is there. There is the prelims, the mains, and the interview, and the papers that you have to go through. Like the prelims, there is objective type of paper. One is of GS, the other is CSAT. You guys don't need to worry about CSAT as far as I know, because you already have done something. You are sitting where I dreamt of to be sitting of one day. To be honest, I'm not. I dreamt to be in IIT, but I could not crack it. So that is something that if I can do this exam, then definitely you can also do it. There is no chance that you people are not capable of doing the same. So that is one of the things I will make very clear. So that is one thing. Then comes your mains. So it is all about the syllabus, like GS 1, 2, 3, 4, your optional, your essay, and the compulsory language papers, and finally your personality test. So what I did was something very different. Like this was only my second attempt. So rather than studying everything and going about through doing anything and everything that is present under the sun, this preparation requires a very, I would say, guided approach. You can't be just going around and picking up study material and trying to study it in hope that this will help you in cracking the exam. That won't happen. So that is one of the things that you have to be very careful, that you choose your sources very well. And this is where most of the market will fail in providing you the best that you need. So I was fortunate enough that I had good enough guidance regarding the same, that what sources to follow and how to do everything. So that will be required for you also. And being from a technical background, the shift is very significant. Like you all are doing, matlab BTech mein hai, we all have done BTech, but going into civil services, it's like a paradigm shift. You have been studying all about physics, chemistry, maths, and everything, and you are in tech, and suddenly you are all into humanities subject like geography, history, polity, that you might not have studied after your 10th standard. So it is a paradigm shift that will happen once you get into this preparation. So at that point of time, you need to be very specific that where you invest your energy and where you invest your time. And other than that, sir has already spoken that there are certain specific things that everyone has to do. Like there may be outliers. I used to study newspaper daily. I have met people who does not even open a page of the newspaper to know what is happening. So that is one of the things that might happen. Like if you have to go through prelims exam, you have to go through objective test. I gave so many test series, I gave so many tests, I do not even recognize the number now. And same goes with the mains exam also. So practice is what something helped me a lot rather than going directly for content. You will be requiring mentorship. You can get it from anywhere. So there is ample opportunities that are available. Once I was into my interview stage, Vajiram helped me a lot. They provided me with enough guidance. So there was mock interviews and everything. They also provide me with classes, etc. So that is one of the things that I got benefited from. So basically, this preparation will take your time. uh, expect at least 2 to 3 years that you might need to invest in this exam, because first of all you will be needing at least 1 year to just study the basic syllabus that is there, the static part that is available, like history, geography, polity, economy, and there are numerous subjects that you will have to study for both your prelims as well as for your mains. So that is one thing that will require at least a year, I believe. So you might complete it within 9 months to 12 months also. And then the examination process in it itself is about a year long. You will give prelims in May, you will give mains in your August, then result will come 3 months later, then 3 months there will be interview, and then the final list will come. So at least 2 years will be done in this one examination cycle only. So expect a good amount of time that you will have to give in this exam, and that is where there is a requirement of good motivation. Like you have to be motivated for throughout your 2 3 years or even longer in order to go through this exam. So the thing that will drive you is your why you need to give this exam. Certain things are always there with this exam, that you will get prestige, there will be job security and others. But other than that, there has to be something that defines your why you have to give this examination. You guys already are in such an institute that you might not be very much concerned about your job security and everything, that you might not get a job or something like that. You guys are capable enough already that if you go into the market today, you have good enough skills, you can easily score a job in this market also. So that won't be an issue for you. So for you, the why will become very important, why you need to give this exam, especially when you will see your colleagues, they are doing something else and you are engaged in something else. So there you will have to make a difference, that should I continue in this or should I not continue in this thing. So that is where you will have to be very focused, that if you have to give this exam, be specific enough that I will give this much time, I will require 2 3 years. Be very clear before you jump into the preparation, that this much amount of time I will have to invest in this exam before I will see some results. So that is one of the things that you will have to keep in mind before going into the preparation. And other than that, I don't think that I can add something on my own. Better that you ask questions, and what I have experienced, I can add according to that, and I can share my experience. So that will be more beneficial rather than just me giving a monologue. So being interactive will help a lot rather than just me being speaking. So you can share your doubts, and we will have a good chat.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay.
And if any one of you have any questions, you could raise your hands. Yeah.
So first of all, hello, sir. I had a so I had a doubt that as we know, the structured preparation is very necessary for cracking the examination, whether it be any, it will be UPSC, ITJ, any. So I just wanted to know, how did you organize your preparations? For example, how did you structure your notes? Yeah. Okay. So how did you structure your notes? How did you, what was your revision schedule like? At what time intervals did you make sure to revise? And because it gets a lot hectic to manage so much content to revise and to keep in mind. How did you do that? What was your mock test schedule? And basically, how did you organize your preparation?
First of all, in order to be very specific, you have to keep your resources very limited, especially when you go for your revision. There is so much material that is available in the market. If you go after everything, you might not be able to revise one thing properly. So there are some standard books that I used to refer. Like for history, you will know once you get into preparation, there are NCRTs. There is a book called Spectrum. Everyone will read it. For economy, there is your class notes or anything. There is Ramesh Singh. There is current affairs. For polity, there is Lakshmikant. So first of all has to keep your resources very limited, and you have to revise them multiple times rather than having multiple resources and not revising them even once. So that is the key to my strategy, that I did not diversify. What I used to do, I used to keep my head down whenever somebody used to talk to me regarding whether you have referred to this source or not. I was like, I am studying this and I am getting results from this, so I will be studying only this rather than jumping to a new source. For note making, I had my classes, I had my class notes. Other than that, once you start revising your things, you have gone through a book once, you got a good enough idea, you got a rough idea what you have to study. Then you will go through one revision, then you will go to two revisions. So what I used to do, first revision, I used to underline everything that was important from my perspective. Second revision, I used to study only those things that I have underlined in the book or that I have highlighted in the book, nothing else. And towards the last revision, what I used to do, that there were certain things that I could not remember or I could not make a point of, that even if today somebody asked me what is this topic, I won't be able to answer it. So I made short notes of those particular things, which were the things that I could not remember. and this will happen with everything. So notes has to be very specific, and notes मैं तो ये कहता हूँ that your notes should be something like that, something that you only you can understand. You don't have to make notes for other persons. Okay, so your note should be your own. You should know what you have written. You should know what you have written and where you have written it, so that once you are going through them, it does not take much time of yours. So that is one of the things. And also for revision, mostly less resources, short notes, and multiple revisions. One way of revision was through mock test. I used to give so many mock tests that any test that I would get, I would just try to solve it, especially before my prelims or before my exam. So that was one of the way for my revision. So what I used to do, I used to give a test. I have given a test, I have given 100 questions. I may be knowing 40 questions, 45 questions at max from a particular paper. And other than that, it was all about how I attempt the exam and how much I analyze the exam. So I have attempted like say 50 questions I have attempted. I got 20 right, I got 25 right. Then I would like to see that where I got wrong. Like if there was a knowledge gap, you studied something, you revised something, but you missed something. So test held me there that I missed this point and this was asked in the test. So I made a note of it in my original notes. So that's how you build your notes, so that it becomes personalized to yourself, that the things that you don't remember, they cater to only to you. That is one of the things. And other than that, you start giving tests. That is a type of revision. And I would say towards the end, when you are going towards your exam, like only 2 months are there or 3 months are there before your prelims exam, like for say, so you will start be very focused. You will start giving more tests. I used to give one test every day during that time, especially 1 month before my exam, both for GS as well as for CSAT. So that will help you a lot in revising things and to cover your gaps that you have focused on. Like if there were knowledge gaps, like if you have studied 3-4 times a particular resource, you will be having a very good idea of most of the topics that you have studied. Now the thing boils down to, can you remember that on the day of your examination? So that is something where your notes will help you, where your test solving skills will help you, where your revision will help you. So make it very structured, make it very personalized. So that is one thing that I used to do that worked for me.
Hello, sir. I would like to ask that there during preparation we have low days where we don't want to study, or it's like we don't get energy to study. For some days we are very motivated. For some days we are not motivated. So when we get low, so our syllabus that our targets get hampered and everything gets hampered. So getting back on track is a bit difficult. So how did you manage that during your preparation?
Yeah, there will be low days. Definitely, there will be low days. मेरे तो I used to suffer from this every week or so. So I used to study 6 days. Then there was a low day. That's something that like used to happen with me also. What you have to do is you have to see first of all why you are मतलब why you are burned out. Like if you have studied 3-4 days, you are giving your 12 hours and everything, and then 2 days are going to waste. So rather than having a मतलब don't procrastinate, have a fixed schedule that you might need to have. And on your low days, that देखो, what happened with me, that I had certain basic things that I had to do every day, regardless I was feeling good, regardless I was feeling bad. I used to go to class daily. I used to study my newspaper daily and revise my class. So these three things were non-negotiable for me, because these things tend to pile up very quickly. So if you miss even 2 days of classes, or even if you miss 2 days of newspaper or everything, so because these things are continuous, 2 days you have missed, but third day your schedule will be same. So if you have not self-studied or you miss those exams, so the pile up will become very strong, and it will be very difficult to clear your backlog. So there were certain basic essentials that I used to do. That was one of the things that I will do short for this day, that I won't go for the next day. And secondly, on my low days, I used to pursue my hobby. What I used to do, I used to sleep for that day. कुछ भी करने का मन नहीं कर रहा, मैं सो जाता था 5-6 घंटे. कोई बात नहीं, उठ के करेंगे जो भी है, मन तब अच्छे से करेंगे, तब अच्छे से करेंगे तो पढ़ाई अच्छे से होगी. Even if you are feeling low, watch a movie, go with your friends, talk to somebody. मतलब have a balance between your academics and your non-academics. It is not about that you can study 12-14 hours, 24 hours for 7 days a week for 365 days a year. That is not possible. You need to have a very good balance. If you have any hobby, try to pursue that hobby and make it a schedule. Like what I used to do, कि मेरा शेड्यूल बहुत ज़्यादा फिक्स था. Like if I have to study for this point of time, like if I have to study from 10 to 4, I will be studying from 10 to 4. But only in that time I will only be studying, and after that, if I have to do something, I have to watch TV or I have to go somewhere, then at that point of time I won't be thinking about my studies. So I was very clear when I will have to study and what you have to study, and when I don't have to study, when I will be in my non-academic mode. So have a balance between both. Focus on your physical and mental health as well. Yoga वगैरह करो and go for a walk. Have मतलब अपने दोस्तों से बात करो, कुछ भी करो. Try to have a break also with every few days. So that will also re-energize you rather than studying for endless hours. Have a break, have a good break, and फिर break लेकर आओ और अच्छी energy से पढ़ो. That will be more beneficial rather than just doing blind study and not understanding anything that you are being studying. So have a balance. मेरा यही है.
Yeah. Hello, sir. So my question is how you develop a robust answer writing skills and how you maintain daily and consistently that answer writing skills. And how many daily DMP solving can help you to during the preparation timing?
So, देखो, first of all, I started my daily answer writing after a certain point of time. I did not directly jump into it from the first day. So once I had built sufficient content that I can able to write an answer. And regarding the answer writing, I would say it is not possible that you will be able to write a very good answer on the first day of your preparation. And there is a myth that you have to study everything and then you have to start answer writing. That is also not possible because the syllabus will never end. Every day there will be something new that you will be studying, and it is not possible that you have read everything and then you will get into answer writing. So what I did was, first of all, I used to just start answer writing. If you write a very bad answer, it does not matter as long as you are practicing it for yourself. Like in during my initial days also, the answers that I used to write, they were very bad. Even I did not like to read them twice after a week. So they were that bad that even I did not like them what I had written. But there was one thing that I used to do, that I will write every day. I will try to build upon it. That first of all, you have written an answer. That is the inertia that you have to break at the initial phases, that I will write an answer. No matter how bad it is, how good it is. The second phase that I did was, now I will do the content enrichment. I used to use ChatGPT a lot during my preparation. So I got content from there also. I used my books, I used current affairs, and then I used to write a good answer. And I used to show it to my teachers. I used to show it to my mentors. Like, sir, this I have written. How good is it? So from inputs, जो उनके input आते थे, I used to incorporate them in my answers. So that was the third thing. And the third thing that happened was, after my prelims paper was done, in the 3 months gap, at that point of time, I was focused on completing the exam. Now that I have written answers, I can write a good enough answer. It is not below average and it is not excellent, but I can write a good enough answer. But now my focus was on that I have to complete the exam, because at the end of the day, you have to write each and every question. You can't leave a question in mains exam. The penalty is very high in that exam. So you cannot leave a question, and one of the challenges that you have to complete the exam in 3 hours. So during that 3 months, I used to focus that once now I will be focusing on completing the exam by hook or by crook. I have to write all the 20 questions in 3 hours. So there were three phases, I would say. First, start writing. अपना रोज का you pick up a topic. You just read the question. You अपनी copy बंद करो. उस topic के बारे में पढ़ो about which you have to write your answer. Then write an answer. फिर देखो कि where you could have improved. Write the same answer again. And then you'll see how your answer has improved, and then focus on the speed of your answer writing. So that will develop over time, and once you start doing it over a period of time, you will start enjoying the process. So you will have to be consistent in that. There is no something that I created some formula of my own that I will have to be consistent or I will have to write daily answers. Try to write one answer of GS daily, one answer of your optional daily, and you will be through. By the time you will be giving your mains exam, you will be in a very good position with regard to somebody who has not done enough answer writing practice. So start from whenever you feel comfortable after a particular point of time, and try to be consistent with that. Try to do it daily. So that will help you a lot. Yeah, regarding my distractions, first of all, you have to see why your distractions are coming. If you see your daily schedule, you will get to know where you are spending your time on. So what I used to do, मेरा एक calendar होता था. I used to write down everything that I have done. This thing. And for distractions, first of all, I was off social media for 2.5 years. Nobody knew where was I, what was I doing. Nobody knew that. And secondly, for your distractions, यार, I was a very, I would say, introvert kind of person. मैं बहुत ज़्यादा लोगों से बात नहीं करता था during my preparation. That was one of the things that helped me manage them. And not everything is a distraction. You will also have to recognize that you should have a good enough schedule. Like you have given 8 hours of your day to your study, then it's better to have a distraction so that you can cut off from your academics also. So something that rejuvenates you, something that makes you back to the real world, that is not a distraction, that is a break for you, and that is also needed. So have a better time schedule. Make your study hours very specific, that during these hours I will only be studying, and other hours when I'm not studying I will be doing something else. So that will help you managing your distraction, and try to minimize them. अगर आप कुछ काम कर रहे हैं तो try to minimize the time that you are devoting to that particular activity. If you think that it is a distraction, be it social media, be it anything else, and try to minimize it. That will help you a lot.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, I want to crack the UPSC CSC exam in 1 year, sir. Which optional should I take so that it will facilitate that? It will become easy for me.
Yeah,
I'm good in science and this CSAT. This feels easy to me. Science subject, science and technology. This feels easy to me, but optional it's a little bit difficult, and yeah, the polity, economy, these things new to me. After 10th class, in 10th till 10th, I scored 100 in history also, geography 95 something. But after that, I have a cutoff for this JEE NEET preparation we have done. So we have not done that. Sir, so which optional should I take? It will be easy for me.
यार देखो, for your optional, अगर आपकी branch का syllabus, if it is possible, like there is electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, and civil engineering. They are already as available as a optional in the UPSC syllabus as well. So if you are comfortable with these subjects, if it is in your background and you think that you can do it, so better. There is nothing better than going what you have studied in your past, what is in your background. So that will help you a lot. Other than that, I think like for me, I studied computer science, so that was not in the syllabus. So I was very sure that I have to switch to a new subject. So there are certain criteria. देखो, I did not do anything rocket science मैंने नहीं किया था in choosing my optional. But what I have seen other people do is that first of all, the optional should be performing in the exam. First of all, like people should be getting enough resources. There should be enough test series, etc., so that you can get the resources, you can practice that particular subject. Second will be your interest. Like for me, there were certain subjects that were recommended to me, like you can take sociology, anthropology, or PSIR. So I studied all of these subjects, a few. Like I used to take 1-2 classes of each and every subject, and then finally I decided on sociology that this is something that I can study for. This is something that piques my interest. So that is why I used to do that. And thirdly, it is all about that you can find good enough resources, you can find good enough guidance for this, for your optional subject. Go through the syllabus of the optional subject that you want to choose. Like in anthropology, I saw biology. मैंने कहा ये तो मेरे से नहीं होगा. So I used to skip from that. Sociology, I find it easy enough. And for PSIR, the syllabus is very good. And for engineers like you are very good in mathematics. So mathematics is a very good option for you people. The syllabus is quite vast, but the reward is very good in that subject. So if you can go with mathematics, so that is also one of the good subject. And sir can also, I think, better answer this question rather than me only speaking this about. He has more experience regarding the same.
Yeah. So on the question of optional choosing, I think you can just draw some sort of a grid, okay? Like whatever factors that he had given, you do a relative scoring. Okay, 3-4 factors. He had very clearly explained it. One, what is the initial interest that I get in a subject? It is highly unlikely that if you initially hate a subject, you won't end up liking that subject. Highly unlikely. So that's the trajectory in which it happens usually. So you can put that hate/love score, whatever, in one column. The next one is second factor in that matrix that you'll have to put is availability of material. Now, ultimately, as I initially told, this exam is a system, which means you will have to maximize your scores. It doesn't matter whether you're in love with philosophy or English literature. I can, study Percy Bysshe Shelley or John Milton. Doesn't matter. Do you have the material for that subject or not? That's a second very important metric. You can be good with that subject, but what works is, are you able to get out of that 500 odd marks, maximize your score, right? So this is the second thing. Third important reason is, do you have guidance for that subject? You might be good in that subject, but that doesn't mean that you know what the UPSC is requiring for that subject. So do you have guidance in it? Second thing is, do you have access to that guidance? Now you might be, as he was telling, I'm in Bhubaneswar, but the guidance for civil engineering might be somewhere else, right? So second, access to guidance, or third point, is very crucial. Fourth important thing is test series. More important is, who is going to correct the paper and give the feedback? Test series writing is a very reflective exercise, right? Even in this hall, as I talk, unless you guys nod or do some sort of an interaction, it'll feel like, okay, I'm telling something which is unrelated to this. So test series writing is not just about writing it and throwing those answer booklets somewhere. No, writing is good 30%, but this rest 30-40% will be feedback that you get. So whatever optionals that you're going to choose, is this factor available? And the fourth or fifth important factor is, there is also, this is usually not told, there is something called as law of averages that usually works in UPSC. The law of averages is something like, usually people, this is a usual rule. Again, as I told, exceptions can be there. I'm not going into exceptions. Usually, when the tide rises, all the boats rise along with the tide, right? Just like that, in some optionals, not all, there is a general tide of good scores. I listed out all the factors, and this is the sixth factor that I'm giving. It's not the first factor. So do not go by just one factor. List out these 5-6 factors, draw a matrix, put relative scores, and ultimately whatever subject gets the maximum score, you can go for it. So this is one for this optional wala thing. Second point that I wanted to add was with respect to how do you revise and read subjects. Most of you all might be from computer science background. I'm from computer science background. There are two kinds of programming which are there. One is called as iterative programming. Another one is called as recursive programming, right? Okay. Now, the end result might be the same, but in iteration, what happens? I go something like depth first search or whatever you do, right? So I go first to one level, then I come another round onto that after some time. Whereas in recursion, what I do, I keep on digging. Recursive approach is always problematic in UPSC. The reason is, all subjects are literally infinite. Let's take, for instance, Constitution. Okay. In Constitution, you'll have to study some articles, Article 21, Article 19. You'll be reading about them. Article 21, for instance, is the shortest article. It's just one line, right to life and personal liberty. But if you keep studying Article 21, you can keep studying Article 21 till the cows come home, until you become 60, 70. That's a recursive approach. You will still not feel that sense of, okay, I've understood Article 21. No, that's not the point. You should understand Article 21 and come out of it. So this is where I always say UPSC examination is, do you know that story of Goldilocks and the three little bears? Okay, the porridge should not be too hot or too cold. If someone is too intelligent, in all probability, they might not clear the exam. If someone is too dumb, definitely they won't clear the exam. You should hit that purple zone wherein you are good with most subjects. Ultimately, you're going to go into a generalist role. Understand this. The IAS is a very generalist kind of a role, or even the police for that matter. So you should have a grip of most subjects to some level. Optionals, though, yes, the depth of understanding should be more. But in most of the GS subjects, touch all the subjects such that you have a good operating knowledge of it. So always the key word is iterative approach and not recursive. Thank you.
Sir, one more thing, sir. So generally, what was your study hours? 8 to 10 hours or more than 14, 15, 18 hours?
नहीं नहीं यार, what I used to focus more on my daily goals, that I had decided that I will be doing this the previous day itself. So once I was able to reach my goals, I used to call it a day. But the goals were such that it used to take 8 to 9 hours of daily. So I used to wake up in the morning. I used to study my newspaper. मैंने अपना static पढ़ लिया. I have to study optional. I wrote answers and then I revised something. And by that time, enough hours has left. So sometimes it was 6, 7 also. Sometimes it was 9, 10 also. So one thing is that don't focus on the number of hours. Like you will be putting in 12, 14, 16 hours. I don't think that is feasible. Even by myself, that you can't put in 12, 14, 16 hours of qualitative study. You can be in front of a book, you can be reading it, but you won't be understanding anything. So rather have a qualitative study. Like I will be studying 8 hours, but those 8 hours will be very fruitful. Like in 8 hours, I will only be studying. There won't be any distraction. I won't be using my mobile phone. I won't be doing anything. And even yet, I have tested it myself. Like take a stopwatch. Once you start studying, stopwatch on karo. The moment you put up from your table, pause the stopwatch. And towards the end of the day, it will be very difficult for you to cross 8 hours. I have seen this myself. Like I was expecting that I'm studying 9 hours, 10 hours daily, but on the clock it is very less. So focus on quality rather than your quantity of hours. Try to reach your goals and try to be consistent daily. Study daily, and you will be in a better position than somebody who used to study for 12 hours for 2 days and then he's off for 2 days. That does not matter. If you are studying 8 hours daily, you are studying 9 hours daily consistently. Towards the end of your preparation, you will be in a very good position as compared to somebody else.
Sir, how many years it took for you to clear mains with this study that you said? Yeah.
Yeah, I started my preparation in July 2022, my full-time preparation. I did not go for any job. I did not do anything else. So that was one thing. And till February 2024, I was just covering my syllabus and everything. After that, 3 months went for prelims, 3 months went for mains. And then there was certain gap, I would say, between the results, between when you give your mains and when the result of mains come. And then after that, there was interview prep. So my total, I would say the time I gave was from July 2022 to April 2024, 25. So approximately, I would say it took me about 3 years for this exam from 2022 to 2025. Yeah, there is a question that she scored 97 in CSET and 67 in GS from self-study. Yeah, first of all, yeah, if you have missed a certain subject, then try to finish the syllabus once and for all. Like you should be going in the examination hall having a good enough knowledge of each and every subject. There may be certain subjects that you like, there may be certain subjects that you do not like. So the subjects that you like, make it your strong point, that you are even to score good marks in that subject. And a certain subject that you don't like, or you think that it is difficult, try to have a working knowledge so that you can solve about intermediate or basic level of questions. And if you want to improve your score, first of all, complete your syllabus, be very good with your current affairs, read newspaper daily, go for compilations, etc., and solve as many tests as you can. Because at the end of the day, you have to solve MCQs, you have to write answers. So if you are going for prelims next year again, so try to solve as many tests before your exam and analyze those tests where you are going wrong, what was your mistake, so that will help you in boosting your score.
Sir, before June 2022, sir, you were means totally not from, you started from zero from June
Hi,
2019?
Bilkul. I started from zero in July 2022. Nothing before that.
Sir, can you please tell your strategy for essays that you have written for cracking this exam?
For SAR, I was not very good in creative writing always. So what I used to do, matlab, I studied for essay only after my prelims, not before that. So once I was preparing for my mains after my prelims. So I started first of all with topper copies. I read so many topper copies, like how do they write the essays? Because I had not written essay, and what the UPSC demands, I did not even know what UPSC demands. So toppers are somebody who has already cracked the exam. So I used to refer to their copies. तो वो मैंने बहुत अच्छे से पढ़े थे. There were handouts, Vajiram ke handouts, they were available in the market. They were very well structured regarding topic wise, so you will be able to get good enough anecdotes, there will be good enough quotes, etc. So that I studied very well. And thirdly was my test. I wrote about 15-16 essays before my actual exam, and I showed those essays to my mentors, and whatever input that they provided me, I used to incorporate them in my essays. So my essay strategy was not very holistic. It was more about I will study how to write an essay. Then it is all about brainstorming sessions that you will be getting. So that helps you in thinking how to write an essay, how to approach an essay, how to see it from different dimensions. That is one of the things that will help you. And finally is a test, so that you can have a good enough practice how to write it on the day of your exam. So that was my essay strategy in all.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir.
So one more doubt, as you told about the focusing on the hard subjects. So I'm sure in your preparation also there must have been some subjects which you might have not liked. So how did you maintain your focus in those subjects? How did you prepare for them? How did you make them your strong points? Since you're all India rank 5, so you must have done a lot good in that.
नहीं, देखो, what I first of all, PYQs are your keys in these subjects. In every subject, I would say PYQs are your keys. You should analyze what the UPSC is already asking from these subjects. So for these subjects, I used to focus on the high yielding areas. Like in art and culture, ancient and medieval, these were certain subjects that I was not very much comfortable with. So I used to go with the PYQs. I saw that there are some things that are getting repeated. Like every year there is a question on Buddhism, every year there is a question on Jainism, there is something on Mauryas, there is something on temple architecture. So these were the basics that I covered very well. I did not go very deep into this. There were certain questions like who has written this book, who has done that. So these type of question I generally used to skip because I did not study them, and I did not feel that my return on investment on these type of questions was fruitful as compared to other subjects which I could have studied in that point of time. So for these kind of subjects, be very thorough with your basics. What is being asked in your PYQs? What is the bare minimum that the subject demands from you? Like art and culture, you have to go through temple architecture, you have to go through modern architecture and everything that you will have to study. You might not be going into very deep. Like Cholas, Vijayanagar, everything that is getting importance every year. Once you start analyzing your PYQs, you will know that these topics are important. So cover them holistically, because somehow the themes will get repeated. Second thing was my current affairs. That anything that was very important in current affairs, I used to study that very well rather than focusing only on static for these type of subjects. That if something comes from here, I can put a input from my current affairs also. And thirdly was test. Whatever I used to study, I gave some test. If I got some new point like this, I have missed and this is important, so I used to make a note of it. So make your strong points very strong so that you do not get a question wrong there. Like economy and polity were my strong points. I could score good enough in these subjects in both mains as well as in my prelims. And for your weak subjects or for your tough subjects, like for me that was history, so have good enough basic knowledge so that you are able to solve that question that everyone is able to solve. You do not get penalized there. You are able to solve basic to intermediate level of question. A hard question comes, you can skip it and you can focus on something else. So that was my strategy.
Hi, sir. Sir, I want to ask you, like, what helped you most about making motivated and developed to that so that you can clear the interview? What helped you motivated and carried in the interview?
Yeah, देखो, for interview, first of all, if you have gone through the mains की preparation, you are a very good candidate in that aspect that you have gone through your mains, you have got an interview call. So for interview, I was fortunate enough that I got good enough time of about 3 months to prepare for my interview. So that worked in my favor. And secondly, for interview, देखो, I used to give so many mocks before my actual interview. I gave about 14, 15 mocks because I was not a very good speaker. I could not communicate very well my ideas. So my primary focus was that I have studied enough. Now I have to talk to people. So I gave as many mocks as possible. Secondly, was my peer group in my interview stage. So we used to talk about 2-3 hours daily about any topic that we used to do. Like we used to decide in the day what we will be discussing in the night, and we used to have a good chat of about 2 to 3 hours daily. And most of those people, they are already in the list, and we have scored. Most of them have scored 200 plus in interview. So that was something that helped me a lot. So three things worked for me in my interview. First was the mocks, second was my peer group, and third was my current affairs, my newspaper. I used to study 3 newspaper during my interview because I had to build very good opinions at that point of time. So these were my three things. And your DAF, especially your DAF, you have to be very thorough with your DAF, your home state, your background, your college, your business, your father's business, everything. You have to be very thorough with that, so that because that is your comfort zone. You already know that if a question is coming from your DAF, you should be able to answer that question rather than something out of the blue question that you don't know nothing about. So your DAF should be very well prepared. You should have good communication, give mocks, have discussions, and that helped me in my interview. And as sir has already said, mocks may and the actual interview, they are matlab they are far wide apart. Nobody can match the interview experience of the UPSC and your mock interviews. So take their feedback with a pinch of salt. That is not what they expect from you. Like what I used to get in mocks, I even got 170 or 160 in one of the mock. But that did not demotivate me because I knew that that is not the true reflection of what I am capable of. So take it with a pinch of salt. Whatever you feedback it, try to incorporate it, but be your own self and don't bluff in that room. Don't lie in that room. That is some things that you have to take care of.
Sir, one more question. Like, which is the correct time to prepare for UPSC?
I think from final year of your graduation you can start with your full-fledged preparation, because at that point of time you will be going through your current affairs and everything, so you can have a streamlined preparation. Before that, you have studied many things. You might go with your foundation if you want to start in your second, third year. But from fourth year, you can give full enough time that you can pursue it full time. That now I will be only be studying. So that will give you an edge that by the time you are graduate, you can directly appear for the exam. So that is, I believe that is a good time, but that will vary for every person.
Thank you very much, sir.
Hello everyone. So मेरा questions this year's regarding the paper है. So actually we seen that two type of questions is common. One is a single option correct, and second is they give multiple and like one is correct, two is correct, like this election. But this year I seen one more type. They given three statement, and regarding this ask like PQ is similar, is a defined Q1 like this one. Like PQ is correct and S is defining the P is the correct one. This type of questions. So how to approach this type of questions? I want to know that. Like and yes.
Yeah, देखो, first of all, if you want to approach these type of questions, आपकी ना concepts should be very clear at these type of questions, because they are not just checking your knowledge, they are also checking your cause and effect wala relation, that you are able to recognize that if something is happening, why it is happening. तो फोकस ऑन योर कॉन्सेप्ट्स आपके बहुत ज्यादा स्ट्रांग होने चाहिए, आपकी एप्लीकेशन पार्ट बहुत ज्यादा स्ट्रांग होनी चाहिए रादर देन ओनली योर स्टैटिक वाला पार्ट. So that is one thing. And second thing that I believe in these questions is practice, because these are new type of questions. Even for me, if I was giving this year's exam, it would have been new for me that how to tackle these type of questions. I might have got some questions wrong also. So here your practice will help you a lot. You will have to develop that thing that you are able to I would say correctly able to identify that this statement explains this and why this does not explain this. So first of all is your conceptual clarity, and second will be your practice that you are able to put in for these type of questions. And other than that, I believe sir can add something to this question, because I am not truly understanding what is matlab, what they are being asking, because I did not give this year's exam. So sir might add something.
Okay. So from say 2023 onwards, okay, prior to that, even if you have this match the following in terms of options, they used to be like a one-to-one kind of mapping, right? Then they went to the model of you should know all the options, then only you'll be right. Only one is right, only two is right, which means that you should be able to know. I think I'll go with what he was also telling. See, ultimately, it boils down to your conceptual clarity of that particular issue. Supposing they are asking a question on the interlinkage between current account deficit, okay, which is an economics related concept, and say inflation. I'm just giving randomly two major economic indicators. Now, what will happen is while you're studying for the examination itself, you should look at the interlinkages between all these variables. You will independently know what CAD is. You will independently know what inflation is or forex reserves, whatever it is. But are you able to interlink these two? Now, in most of these kinds of questions, slightly difficult questions, they are not twisting much in the options per se. They are twisting much in the questions itself. There's a difference, right? So if you are able to understand the question properly, then whatever option that they ask, you will be able to do. It should not be much of a problem. Initial shock will be there. And I always say this in many of the interviews also, not interviews, but YouTube videos I saw, people were literally cribbing saying that, oh, UPSC is uncertain, this, that, and all. Understand one thing, tomorrow you're entering a job which is going to be uncertain, right? You're entering a job which is going to be uncertain. Your certainty with respect to job protection will be there. Nobody can take you out. Article 311, all of that is there. But your everyday job working is a very uncertain zone, which means that you will have to be trained in the art of embracing uncertainty. You understood this point, right? So tomorrow when you become IAS and police, your everyday work is uncertain, which means you do not know what is the firefighting that you need to do. Suddenly some sort of a riot happens. I mean, who's going to plan for that on a daily basis, right? Suddenly something might happen, like imagine this incident that happened in Bangalore, RCB, right? Everybody were in a very celebratory mode. Who would have thought? And the police commissioner also, poor guy, he had absolutely no clue. Everybody were celebrating because so many other celebrations would have happened in Bangalore, right? But who would have thought that there will be a stampede and this and that? That's the work. You're able to see this. It's preempting those things. Okay, now if there's going to be crowd kind of movement there, what is the SOP? What is the standard operating procedure? You're able to see that. Link that with your prelims exam and your mains exam and your interview. It'll fall exactly in place, which means once you have that attitudinal shift of embracing uncertainty, which means, yes, things are going to be uncertain. I can study as much as I want, but in the exam, there's going to be uncertainty. Once you start embracing uncertainty, then tomorrow your role of sitting in that chair will become much easier. Apart from all of this, how to study it in terms of interlinkages, apart from all of that, you should have that attitudinal change, which is, yes, it's uncertain because the job that you're going to do tomorrow is uncertain.
Yeah, that question I asked because when I talk with other aspirations, they also told that this question is like repeat after 2 or 3 years in UPSC. Yeah. So my second question is regarding the interview perspective. So when you attended an interview and suppose that panel will ask you regarding the opinion-based questions, and especially on the controversial issue. So how to tackle that type of questions? Is fine with put your opinion with polite manner or like any other way? Just I want to insight from you.
Yeah, देखो, for these type of questions, you have to be balanced. Like you can't take a extreme point of view for these type of questions that you are completely in favor or you are completely against. You can put forward your views regarding regarding the issue that is there, and also you should have a very good reasoning, or you should have a very good thought process behind the opinion that you are building. Like if they ask you a follow-up question up to 2 levels, like you said something, they will ask you a follow-up question like, why do you believe this? So you are able to answer that thing. and from that they will make some other question. So at that point of time, if you have a certain level of conviction that I am giving this opinion, but my opinion is based on these type of facts, it is based on these type of incidences that has happened. So your thinking should be very rational at that point of time. And for these type of gray questions, there is no correct answer. You have to justify your answer, and you should be able to justify it enough that they agree with your point of view, even though your point of view and theirs point of view that does not match. So have a well informed opinion rather than having just a wild guess or saying something very random. So have a balance and don't take any extreme point of view in these type of questions. That is what I have done. There were certain questions that were asked to me in the interview, but I was very balanced that this is happening, but why this is happening and why this, what we can do, what we can do differently, what can be changed. So have a balance in these type of questions.
I'll just add one point to what he told. There are three ways of answering an opinion-based question. One from here, another from here, another from here. You're able to see the three differences? Once you answer from the gut, which is, you're very emotionally linked to that. You might have very strong opinions on that particular issue, right? Let's take on the question of Pakistan, for instance, right? You might have very strong opinions, but that's like answering from here, from the gut, which is like, no, Pakistan is X, Y, Z, whatever. Once you go here, you will have rational reasons, and that's exactly what he told. You have rational reasons why you're answering that way, which is much better. Even in your communication, the words that you choose will be much more appropriate. The point might be the same, but the words will be much more appropriate, and your manner in which you answer that question will be much more appropriate. This is the second point. Third important point, I'll just give my personal example in my interview what happened. Generally, when people from Tamil Nadu go, like I'm from Chennai, there will be one question that they usually ask on this India-Sri Lanka kind of issue, on the Tamils issue. Usually, that's a standard pattern that UPSC tends to follow. So what happened in one of my discussions in the actual UPSC interview itself, the point that I wanted to convey, the UPSC member who was evaluating me, he did not hear it properly. Because see, if you sit in the actual UPSC hall, you will sit at a distance. It won't be like nearby some chai pe chacha and all, not like that, right? It'll be at a distance. Now, there you will have to throw your voice little bit. He did not hear it properly. So he started going in a totally different trajectory, which means that he totally misunderstood what I told. And mind you, this was the chairman's question. Ultimately, who's going to evaluate you? The chairman's marks is all that matters, right? All the other people will assist him or her. And mind you, this was perhaps the last set of questions that I had to tell. I've answered all the other questions. This was like the last. I got into absolute jittery mode. Because now what's happening is there is a literal kind of an argument going on between me and him. Though I did not intend it. You're able to see this? Though I did not intend it, neither did I want to, push the chairman on to the wrong. Why would I want to do it of all the days, right? But the whole point is how, one, effectively you're able to communicate. Two, in that given context, what is the point that is appropriate to be told and inappropriate? There is a slight variation. And this you will get to know once you do some good mock interviews. Again, I would just like to reiterate what he told. It's not about the number of mock interviews, but it's about the quality. In some mock interviews, you can ask actually your friends also, even if you sit in a mock interview, and you can ask them to ask very provocative questions. When you ask provocative questions, what will happen is your true feeling that is inside will come out. Yes, they are like that, or X is like that, Y is like that. Then they will catch you. You're able to see this? So as you do this process, you will start tailoring your opinion. You will be able to understand, and as he rightly told, any sort of extreme opinion is problematic. Any sort. Which means, as long as your opinion is in tune with the constitutional values, you can hold on to them. But if you're going to talk extremely revolutionary kind of things which are not really in tune with it, then Another last instance before we go on to the next question, another interesting question which came to one of my friends also. He answered all of the questions. Then they asked him one question, final question. Bhagat Singh, do you know Bhagat Singh? Yeah. Bhagat Singh, the question was, do you think Bhagat Singh was a freedom fighter or a terrorist? Now, this is a very, very loaded question, right? Because here, you cannot go into this argumentation saying one man's freedom fighter is another man's, you can't do. It's not possible. Here, you will have to take a clear-cut stance as an Indian, as a person, as Bhagat Singh was fighting a oppressive regime. You're able to see this? Now, then what will happen is, then they started pulling that particular thread and they started linking it to Pakistan's stance on their terror groups. They are also saying the same thing. India is doing a lot of oppression in Kashmir. What do you think? Now you're able to see this? Now here, you cannot take an exactly different thing. You'll have to tailor your answers. You will start learning these things once you start doing a lot of mock interviews. You start studying a lot also. Your opinions will become very, very tempered, right? Okay. And last point, sorry to again interject. Last point is, see, ultimately, you're going to join the government of India tomorrow. You're not there for an interview to become a journalist or some sort of a social activist or something. No, you're going to join the government of India, which means you cannot unreasonably criticize government policies. And I'm again very clearly mentioning this word, if you have carefully listened to me. Unreasonable criticism. What do you mean by unreasonable criticism? You might not be personally in favor of a particular policy, but tomorrow, if you're going to become IAS and police, are you going to always write dissenting notes? No, I don't like digital India. I don't like Bharat, whatever. No, you can't do that. So understand the job profile for which you're actually applying. You want to be a part of an organization, but you cannot be a crusader against the organization. It doesn't make any sense, right? But that doesn't mean that you should have absolutely, pro-government positions. I'm not trying to say that, but don't have unreasonable criticism of the government just because of some external or other reasons.
Hi sir, this is Ishu Raj from Bihar. Because sir, Bihar is like in our blood. It's told that we have to focus on the government jobs. Sir, basically, sir, I am from first year, sir. So for someone who wants to prepare from very first year, sir, actually we can fill the form in third year, sir, for UPSC. But sir, what about the academic impact? How we will manage our academics and along with the UPSC preparation, sir? As there are many aspirants in UPSC, sir, and we are very uncertain that we will be succeed. So we have to focus on academics also, sir. So what are the strategies? Or is it better to focus on very first year or after the completing the 4 year UG?
I would say that sir might answer this question well because I studied after my graduation only. So I had good enough time to invest in my graduation as well as for services. So that dilemma that you are facing, like, should I believe in building skills at this point of time during my college and then going into preparation, or going into preparation so knowing that the future is uncertain. So what I would say is that you can start with your foundation, start studying little bits, like some things in this preparation that does not change, like history will not change, geography will not change, polity, economy, etc. The basics of these subjects will not change, and you can give sufficient enough of time in balancing both your academics as well as the UPSC syllabus. So while you go into your third or fourth year, then you can go more into full-fledged preparation. So that is my opinion, that is my take. Sir might provide some other opinion that may be more helpful for you at this time.
Yeah, I'm perfectly in agreement with what he's telling. Your entire syllabus, if you can bifurcate it into two ways, one will be purely static subjects, which will be like what he was telling, art and culture, history, which is ancient, medieval, modern, post-independence India, world history. Really not going to change. Maybe an interpretation of history might come, but that's also not a big change that might happen. Geography, another huge static subject. Economics is partially static, partially dynamic. So like this, you can divide all the subjects into either purely static, purely dynamic, partially static, partially dynamic. Like this, you can do a division. Now, as he rightly told, you can start with these purely static subjects during your college days, right? That will be a good thing. And develop this habit of having a tap of current affairs. Don't, I mean, you need not take notes and all now. That will become irrelevant after 2 to 3 years. But have a sense of what's going on, such that, okay, this news item is relevant to the syllabus, another news item is not very relevant to the syllabus. So like that you can do, and by the time you're there in your final year, or maybe in your after you graduate, you can go into full-time preparation. It can be done. Okay. And one more point which will also become very handy is, see, ultimately people keep on telling that this for this exam people ask random questions like, anything under the sun types. No. If you look at the syllabus is a clearly drafted kind of a document which gives you a sense of what are the areas in which UPSC wants you to focus, right? So the first thing that all of you should do as serious aspirants is to read the syllabus inside out. I would literally go to the extent of saying by heart the syllabus, and there's value to it. The reason being, tomorrow when you read a news item, right? Like assume that there is a Indian Express or some sort of paper opinion article, right? It's an opinion article on climate change. Assume that there's an article. Now you'll be taking notes of that particular thing. But notes is just one step. Mentally, how are you going to map? Right? Ultimately, as he rightly told, it comes down to the question of, can you revise all of this one day before the examination, right? No matter how, there's no extra marks for good handwriting, extra marks for studying well for the entire year, nothing. There are no consolation prizes in this, right? This guy did, or this individual did it wholeheartedly, extra marks for good intention, nothing. No consolation prizes, which means once you're able to map individual news items to syllabus, that's when you've got the grasp of the subject. Now you're mentally also very clear, compartmentalized. So if they ask a question on climate change, you will have your static understanding of climate change from your environment biodiversity, plus all of these news items that you would have studied, then you can write a good 200-word answer, right? So that is one art that you can develop in these 2 or 3 years.
Good evening, sir. So, as sir mentioned, and even you said that precise studying is important, right? So, okay. So, how you differentiate that it's important topic, or at the point that you have gone out of the syllabus and you should focus back to the what's important or not?
Here, there are two keys for this: your PYQs and your syllabus. They will guide you through everything that you will be studying. If you have gone through your syllabus very well, and if you have gone through your PYQs very well, you will quickly get a gist that this is important and this is not important. And for that, once whenever you start studying, like you are going to study a particular topic in economy, let's say, so try to first see the PYQs that have been asked both for your prelims as well as for your mains exam, and then study what has been asked in the past and what you think that this has been asked. There is a probability that something is happening. There is a current affair, and on the basis of the previous year question, I can make a guess that this might be important for this year. So for this type of focus study, there is only two things that you have to focus on. That is your PYQs and your syllabus. They are the guiding lights. And other than that, your resources has to be very limited. You have to trust your resources. Like if you have chosen a newspaper, like I used to follow Indian Express daily. So if I have chosen Indian Express, I used to trust it that I will study it daily. I will not do something like I am studying Indian Express for a week and then I will switch to Hindu for the next week. So that won't serve the purpose, because I believe that most of these newspapers or anything, any compilation that you follow of any current affairs, any institute, Pajiram ka ho, kisi ka bhi ho. So what they have a particular way of doing things. You might think that something was missed in the previous issue, or this topic has been missed by this institute. It will be covered in somewhere or else, like in the next issue or something like that. So keep your resources limited, trust those resources, and make PYQs and your syllabus your guiding light. So your study will automatically become very precise, and then start giving tests. You will get to know what are your strong points, what are your weak points, where you need to focus on. So this will help you in keeping your resources limited and your study concise.
Okay, sir. And sir, whenever I used to study from notes and revising back, so what happens, like I study one topic, and when I go to another topic, I start feeling even this is important. Then again, another topic I study, and then I feel like, oh, I should go back and check it again. I think I'm missing something. And then I go start reading again that entire thing. So it becomes too much time consuming, even in for revision also. We study precise notes, but we go back again. So how we can?
For that, first of all, you have to be very concise for PYQs, and जब आप उनको analyze कर लोगे, you will be able to get a good idea that how much important is this subject. There are always some high yielding areas in this exam. Like some things are repeated every year, so that will become very important. And then periphery things, they might become less important. You might give them a little less focus than compared to your core subjects. That is one of the things. And for second thing, that you might not remember anything or something like that, multiple revisions is the key here. There is nothing that can beat multiple revisions. Pick up a source, revise it multiple times, you will already get a gist of the subject. So revise same resource multiple times rather than studying many resources and not revising them once. So that is the thing that you have to do. Single resource, multiple revisions, and your PYQs analysis, your syllabus analysis. That will help you a lot.
Good evening, sir. I just want to know how to plan to read newspaper and how to summarize the things and from where I have to start all that.
देखो यार, if you are starting with your newspaper, for me, my current affairs sources was newspaper and one monthly current affairs compilation. That was all that I studied for all my current affairs. So for newspaper, there are certain things that are very important, like editorials. They become important because they help you in building your opinions. But there are certain editorials which are political in nature or something like that. You can avoid them. That is not at all required for you to be studied. In Indian Express, there is a very good page by the name of Explained page. Sometimes questions come directly from these type of pages. Like even I remember in 2024, there was a question on cicadas. And the same thing was covered in Indian Express. I have studied that article. Why this question was asked, I could even remember that on my day of my exam, that why this question has been asked, because I studied it in that way. So Explained page, that is in Indian Express, or similarly in Hindu, there is a text and context page. Both are similar. Both covers very relevant topics from your point of view of your examination, especially the current affairs like political subjects, economy, and even science and tech. These subjects are very well covered in these days. And other than that, two pages are very important: economy and international relations. That is something, if you are studying newspaper daily, by the time you will be giving your exam, you will be very well abreast with all the issues that have gone in these subjects, especially in economy and international affairs. And for some minor news that comes for science and tech, for environment, and for other subjects, your monthly compilation will suffice for that. So have a very focused approach on your newspaper. You don't have to read all the 20 pages of the newspaper. That will take very much amount of time. Be very focused, and as sir has said, you have to remember your syllabus by heart. So once you read an article, you are able to link it where it is fitting in my syllabus. Is it important for me or is it not important for me? So that will help you in reducing your time while you are reading a newspaper.
Good evening, sir. This is Saurav. I'm saying like if you continue studying, like it's a vast syllabus, but we need to stuck to some part. But when you are on a full-fledged preparation, but still when you go talk to your friends regarding, like, you had to be socialized to just know what you studied, what you not. If they ask some questions, it's sometime you answers, but sometime it's like you don't know, and it's like feels like you are stuck to some paper. You are not in your preparation. It demotivates you. Like how to overcome that?
यार देखो, मेरी इसमें थोड़ी अनकन्वेंशनल सी टेक्निक थी कि मैं कट ऑफ था बहुत ज़्यादा लोगों से, मैं बात ही नहीं करता था कि मैं क्या पढ़ रहा हूँ. तो मेरा थोड़ा सा था कि दैट आई वोंट टॉक. बट देखो, यू हैव टू बी फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल विद लाइक माइंडेड पीपल. Don't try to be with those kind of people that you think they are demotivating you, or that they are just there for demotivating you, that you have not studied this, we have studied this, and everything like that. First of all, you have to trust in yourself that what I am doing, that is sufficient for me. If you are getting results from what you are doing, then keep doing that. Rather than going through all these discussions and then questioning yourself, try to avoid these discussions. And secondly, matlab, keep your circle close and keep and stay with like-minded people, so that you are not demotivated very easily by some random person who comes, who asks you a random question that might not even be linked with UPSC, because he had read it in somewhere and he asked you just because you're preparing for your UPSC examination. That is not relevant for you, and don't take it to your heart that you don't know something. Even in interview, you, and even in this exam also, there is no possibility that you can know everything that is under the sun. Okay, so be focused on what you have studied. If you are getting results out of that, you are getting good enough marks in your test, you are writing good enough answers, then trust in yourself that I am on the right path. And once you get with and be with like-minded people, those who are passionate about this exam like you are, like they also want to study for the exam, they are not there to unnecessarily criticize you. You have to take constructive criticism. If somewhere you are wrong and if somewhere you are lacking, take it as a constructive criticism, work on that. But don't take every criticism to your heart. You have to be very specific in that and keep your circle close, I would say. So that will help.
I have just one point to add. How old are you? 21? 20? Ah, okay. See, this might sound slightly very conservative. Not all humans with whom you interact want you to succeed. Be very clear about it. Okay, I'm slightly older than you, so I have good practical experience of this. Just because they are close to you doesn't mean they will share your vision of what you want to do in your life. You need not be disrespectful to them. That's not my point. But always have some sort of what I called as ring fence yourself. Have that what is called as guardrails, they say. Right? Ring fence yourself, like what he correctly told. Choose, I mean, you will have your own school friends, college mates, that's fine. But choose them very carefully, at least for this process. I'll tell you why. Because already this process is like a gorilla that you're handling, right? It's like a big Godzilla kind of a monster. Apart from that, if you're going to be continuously pulled down by people who are absolutely irrelevant, I mean, to be very honest, right? I feel somewhere you should not get bogged down by those things. You should take criticism from people who are there in this particular process. Like say if your mentors are giving some sort of things that need to be changed, maybe in your answer writing or in the opinions that you air, that's a fair criticism. But then for everyone who's going to tell something, I don't think you should be really concerned. But from a personal level, what I will suggest is just you need not go around telling people in the first place that, you know what, I'm preparing for this. That in itself, unfortunately, creates a lot of jealousy. This is the harsh reality of humanity, unfortunately. Okay. So once that happens, then there will be a lot of negative individuals that you will start to attract who will not want you to rise up in life. Unfortunate reality. So therefore, I will suggest, it doesn't mean that you'll have to go on a war basis to push them aside. No. Gently, without them even knowing, you just create your own field of working in life. This is not just for the exam, but it's generally for life also. This will be a good point.
Hello, sir. My question is like I am a second year student of engineering. I a bit confused whether over prepare for UPSC or GATE. What should I do? Because like टाइम ड्यूरेशन 4 इयर्स का होता है और उसके बाद हम 22 इयर्स ओल्ड के हो जाते हैं, तो फिर वो जो माय प्रोफेसर से कहते हैं कि लाइक अब आप बीटेक कर रहे हो तो अभी आप गेट अभी दे लोगे तो आप इजी से मतलब क्रैक कर सकते हो, क्योंकि यही सिलेबस आपका गेट में पूछा जाता है। फिर मेरा एम यूपीएससी का है, यूपीएससी करने का, बट वहाँ पे मैं कंफ्यूज हो जाती हूँ कि गेट करना चाहिए कि या यूपीएससी।
Sir might answer this question. I am not the right person for this. I don't know anything to say for this question.
1 minute. Yeah, okay. So I was actually answering one more person. I don't know whether you were there. First, one point that Akash had made initially, if you had noticed, it's about why are you doing anything in life at all? be it GATE or IIM or not doing anything in life, becoming a novelist, whatever it is, there has to be that core why. And that's a very personal why, huh? Nobody can answer your why. So there has to be one why as to why you're writing GATE. Which department? Computer science or which?
Computer science.
Computer science, right. So if you're going to write, say, GATE computer science, what is the reason that you're going to write? Do you want to do an MTech and become a teacher, like a professor or something, get into academia? That can be one pathway. Or maybe you want to do MS by research, get into some specific core area, maybe do a PhD. These are all pathways. Apart from this, if you're going to come into UPSC, the pathway itself is totally different. The reasons for writing this is totally different. Got it? So first sit down, take some time off from all of this noise and everything. Just maybe take just one sheet of paper, write down really at this point of time. And mind you, you're writing it in 2025. Maybe 5 years hence, your understanding of this might change. Always remember, decisions are taken in that time frame. Now in 2025, what do you feel about GATE? What do you feel about UPSC? Write down reasons. You need not go into a pros and cons exercise. Okay, whether I'll clear GATE, is there more probability of GATE clearance or no? That's a different discussion altogether. But the core question which you're unable to answer is why. Why? Second, I do not know which professor answered your thing. I don't want to get into that. But see, for GATE and all, you can do it at any point in time. Nothing is going to, the computer science that I studied is the same. I studied only one paper on artificial intelligence. The only change that has happened in the past 15 years is now there is a course on artificial. That's all. The programming, C programming, Fortran, COBOL, whatever we studied, nothing will change. So I somewhere feel for those pursuits in life which has a age limit, like say 30, 32, whatever is there. And obviously you're not going to keep on giving attempts till you're 32. Budapa, you're not going to give, right? There's going to be a cap, 6 attempts, 7, 9, whatever it is. You put a barrier to yourself. Now you're like, say, 21, 22, maybe till 25, I will try UPSC if you really want to. After that, if at all it doesn't happen, anyways, you can write GATE. GATE preparation, it'll take just 6 months. That's it. And trust me, I have done computer science GATE preparation. That's why I'm telling from first-hand experience. Computer science GATE preparation is not at all difficult. You study some theory of computation, some 5 questions will come. You study computer organization, right? Not at all an issue. So you should not compare these two, in the sense that since you're already in IIT, your GATE preparation will also be much more easier. You should not be really concerned about that. Your larger question that you should answer is, why am I going to do anything at all? Even if it's GATE also, you should have some reasons, no, why you're going to do. Apart from the fact that you're intelligent and therefore I'm writing the exam, apart from that, at least there has to be one factor. No, I want to get into academia. I want to become a professor here in IIT Madras itself. Good reason. Good enough reason. But please write that down. Then you will have clarity. Then decision making becomes easier.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, sir. First of all, heartiest congratulations on securing AI 5 in UPSC 24. And special thanks to IIT Madras Adhyay Group for hosting such interactive live sessions. Sir, my question is, what strategies would you suggest for future aspirants to effectively manage their physical and mental health, which play important role in during the preparation, while maintaining productivity and focus during the preparation?
देखो यार, first of all, for your physical health, मतलब I was very much concerned कि मतलब मेरी diet बहुत अच्छी हो गई थी. First of all, you have to be very concerned about what you are eating. First of all, so that is something that you can start focusing on from day one only. Secondly, if you are into any kind of sport, be it any sport like running, jogging, tennis, anything, cricket, etc., keep doing that. It is not only about your physical health, it is also about your mental health. So that will help you in both. So first of all, if you have a hobby, especially a sport, that will boost both your physical as well as your mental health. You will be able to interact with people you will be doing some teamwork, you will be out of your preparation, you will be out of from your studies for a particular time of hours. So that will help you in cutting off from the fatigue that you might have accumulated because of your continuous academic जो भी आप कर रहे हैं. And secondly, for your mental health, एक तो सबसे पहले try to minimize interaction with people who might pull you down, first of all. Secondly, what personally worked for me was yoga. Try to do something for 10, 15, 20 minutes that will give you peace of mind. And interact with your friends, interact with your family. If you have any questions, if you face any problems, I personally have experienced it that talking will help you a lot. If you share your problems, there is a higher probability that you might find a solution rather than not sharing your problems. So these are some things that I would like to add. And keep in touch with your hobby. Don't become too mechanical for this exam that you are studying 12, 18 hours a day and you're not doing anything else. So have a balance between your academics and non-academics that will maintain both your physical as well as your mental. So that is something that you can do.
Hello, sir. Good morning. Good afternoon. My first question is: did you rely more on books and online materials with democratization of knowledge? Many materials are available. So, how did you choose? Like, okay, this would be the better for me, or this I should not choose. And the second would be like, what was your strategy for mains exam? Like, did you rigorously follow the intro, body, and conclusion part, or it was just fluid, so you don't really follow a particular set of like introduction, body, and conclusion part? And third would be like, in your college preparation, some extracurricular activities like debates and all, how it helped in uh, clearing the mains and in uh, interview part of your exams. And uh, that's it, sir.
चलो देखो, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल फॉर योर रिसोर्सेज वाला पार्ट, आई वाज मोर अबाउट, मतलब मैंने सिर्फ ऑनलाइन, आई यूज्ड टू स्टडी ओनली करंट अफेयर्स. कि अगर इफ आई एम स्टडिंग न्यूज़पेपर, इफ आई एम स्टडिंग एनी करंट अफेयर्स, तो दैट वाज ओनली द डिजिटल पार्ट दैट आई रिलाइड ऑन. After that, everything was more focused on my standard books and my class notes and what I have been studying, like my monthly compilation or everything. I did not go too much deep into internet. Like, you can find very good content on internet. Like, if you are studying a particular topic and if you think that your standard books are not enough or something like that, तो फिर एक बहुत easy trick है, write the topic and write a keyword UPSC after that. You will get very good links and that will be very tailor made to the examination. So that you will get very good content in a very organized way. So that is where you can use all the digital resources that is available. And almost every website is good. You can rely on everyone. You can rely on any one of them. So that is where, first of all, you have to be very good in your static part. Don't ignore your standard books. Don't ignore certain things that you have to do. Don't ignore newspapers. And after that, when you are building your content, when you are doing value addition, when you are solving PYQs, or when you come across a new topic, so that is where you can rely more on digital sources. And I personally don't recommend YouTube videos for the same, like for newspaper analysis and for a particular thing. Rather than going for YouTube analysis, you can always study it on your own. So that is something कि आपकी खुद पढ़ने की आदत जब बनेगी ना, so that will help you a lot rather than relying on only YouTube videos. So that is something that I personally don't recommend. Secondly, regarding your mains answer writing, देखो, my broad structure was intro, body, and conclusion. But it is not that every question will have a conclusion or every question will have an introduction. You will have to suffice on the day of your exam what is the demand of the question. Ultimately, it is a demand of the question that you have to directly hit. You can't be roaming around here and there and answering only on the periphery. You have to answer what is being asked in the question. तो be it in the form of introduction, I used to write an introduction, मेरी body होती थी, conclusion होता था. But not in every question there might be a conclusion. You can give certain type of suggestion or you can quote something else. Same goes for introduction. You can do something. And even there is a thing that you always should write in points and you should not write in paragraphs. I have written in both formats in my mains exam. I have followed heading and bullet points wala format, and I have also wrote my questions in paragraph format also. So that won't change much as long as you are hitting the demand of the question. And thirdly, I am a graduate of COVID times. So for me, extracurricular activities were almost none during my college years. I had gone to college only for 3 semesters, and after that everything was closed. I was at my home, so debates and etc. I could not participate in them. What worked for me, especially for my interview, was the peer discussion that I had and the mock interviews that I gave. That was the only thing that helped me in building the conversation. So debates and etc. I did not participate, but peer groups and mock interviews helped me there.
Hello. Hello, sir. I am Rushali. My question is how to choose a optional subject. As I am a TS student, so I thought of taking a statistics as a optional subject. But the problem is most of the people who is preparing for UPSC is choosing international relationships or other popular subjects. So my question is, so how to choose it according to your syllabus in you taught in, or any professor taught in the course, or related to UPSC only? These two differences.
Yeah, we have already answered this question. Like there are criteria that you can make for this. Like first of all, you should be having a certain level of interest in that subject. Second is the availability of the resources that you might need. Third is the test series that you need for this particular subject. And fourth will be the guidance that you will be requiring for this examination. So if you are able to gauge all the optional on the basis of this and you are comfortable enough with the subject, then you should go with it rather than doing something out of interest only. And you have to also see that how the subject is performing, or is there any resources available I can get good enough guidance, because after a particular point of time you will be requiring guidance. Everything I personally could not do everything on my own. So take certain things in your opinion. Like if you are taking statistics, you have an interest, very well. You should have good enough resources, you should have test series, and you should have good enough mentors and guides so that you know where you are lacking, so that this does not happen that you're not able to score just because you did not know what you have to do. That should not happen. So try to gauge on these kind of criteria and then come to a solution rather than going just because you have a particular interest. So you have to balance both of these things.
Thank you, sir. And since we are running out of time, we'll take just two last questions and then conclude the session. Yes.
So my question is for both of you. Like you got a mentor for yourself during your preparation, and so you are mentoring. So how should we know that we are getting the right mentorship? Because sometimes we think we are getting the right thing, but it's not up to the mark or not relatable for our journey. So what are the parameters should we think as a fresher during our preparation that our mentorship is going in the right direction or not?
The only thing that I can say is in this that you have to trust the people that you are engaged with. First of all, you have to believe that they are good enough. And once you are in this preparation now, once you are in contact with someone, you also will get an idea how good is this person. Is this the right guidance or is this not the right guidance? Like I met many people, they suggested me so many things, but it is not necessary that you have to follow everything. And you will know about certain people once you get into the preparation, how good are them, and you have to trust these sources with which you are engaged. Don't be like that they are hiring anybody out of the blue. They are very well experienced people, they know who they are engaged with, what they are working, what is their performance. So that is one thing that what I considered while I was searching for my guides or mentors, and rest sir can answer that.
So the importance of mentoring comes. I would distinguish mentoring into kind of two types. Initial kind of mentoring, which gives you an understanding of this process. Okay, prelims, mains. That's the initial stage that anybody can do. Once you cross that stage, right? Once you enter into a stage of serious preparation, you should not give up your entire preparation onto the hands of the mentor. A mentor is not going to be your alter ego. Okay. Right? A mentor is not going to prepare on behalf of you and all, right? So first, what is required is you should have a solid understanding of what needs to be done. This is the groundwork that you need to do as an individual. And this is again at the cost of repeating again and again. This is where IIT students, I feel, have a distinct advantage. The reason being, you've already cracked one system, which is the JEE system, right? So how did you do that? Go back to your whatever institute that you were part of. I don't want to tell names, but go back to those days. What did you do there? This is nothing different from that. Just that you have aged and you're going to study a new set of subjects. That's it. But that was also one system. This was also one system. There also they had entry and exit barriers. Here also same entry and exit barriers. Correct? What did you do there? You attended classes. Then there were some drought clearing sessions, continuous tests, feedback. Some people were good with physics, maths. You went and picked very clear inputs from them. Same process here. The initial heavy lifting, I somewhere feel you need to do, wherein you should have a grip of what is required. You cannot go as someone who is absolutely ignorant to the mentor and say that, hey, you know what? Take me through this journey. That's not going to happen. Then what if you end up with the wrong person? We don't know. Your entire journey might get it. And one point that he also rightly mentioned is, even in our institute, we don't randomly put anyone and everyone as mentors. There's a very, very thorough process that is being put under. And it is only after that that they are even given mentoring roles, because ultimately mentors, they make or break journeys. A good mentor can lead you through, or a bad mentor can actually push you in a totally different direction. So I somewhere feel, have your initial understanding of the process without any sort of anyone. Assume that you don't have anyone to help. A hypothetical thought experiment, right? Assume that you have no one. Then what are you going to do? Now you take mentoring as some sort of an extra guidance. Now you will be able to distinguish, hey, everybody is telling answer writing is necessary. But if the mentor is going to tell, you know what, answer writing is not necessary, then there's a red flag. You're able to see this, right? Now, if everybody is telling something and the mentor is telling something totally different, then test it on some sort of a metric. Then you will be able to understand who's a good mentor and who's not a good mentor. One second thing is, that particular mentor should be able to go along with you in the process. Like, you will have your own mood swings, right? He or she must tailor the program according to you. Supposing I see a lot of people who study 3 subjects in a day. I am a person who studies while I was studying also, and even now also, I study only one subject a day. Now, if I were to do mentoring to this individual, I cannot pull this individual onto my mode and say that, you know what, you should study only one subject. Doesn't work. You're able to see this? So the mentor and mentee have to come into some sort of a middle ground. And even I feel here in Vajiram also, if at all you are not perfectly fine with the mentor, you always have the option to change them also. You can go to another mentor. So that option is available everywhere. So you need not be extremely very worried about it.
Yeah. One last question from my side, sir, for both of you. It is quite personal that when you appeared for your first attempt and when you cleared your attempt, what you did the mistake, what you feel, what kind of mistake you can rectify in your first attempt that will be more easier to clear for your exam in your first attempt itself.
First of all, what I did in my first attempt was I did not even complete the syllabus. So you have to be completing your syllabus at least once. You have to go through all the subjects that they are in the syllabus, that what is being asked. You cannot leave anything. You can be strong or weak in a particular subject, but you cannot leave anything just because you did not do it. And secondly, what I did wrong was I used to study everything at that point of time. So I was not focused that I will have to study limited amount of things and that I will be focusing on revision more. So that is something that I got to used to later, that I will be studying limited. I will be studying very focused, and thirdly was the amount of tests that I gave. In my first attempt, I gave very less test, 2 or 3 mocks, and then I went to give the test. So that did not work for me. In my second attempt, I gave more than 50 mocks before I appeared for the prelims. So these three things worked between my first and second attempt, I would say.
So the change, sorry, man, just 1 minute. The change that I made, see, this is a very, I usually tell it to everyone. Now, what happened was I studied in a Anglo-Indian institution, a convent education. So therefore, I always had this sense of arrogance that I was good with the English language, and in any given situation, I'll be able to write answers very well. This was my arrogance that I had then. My first mains examination, you won't believe, the first paper was essay paper. Okay, and the question was also very simple. Some Gandhi related, some quote they had given. I had participated in a lot of debates and I was good in that sense, or at least that's what I thought. You won't believe, in those 3 hours, I was not able to write it. That time there was only one essay for like 250 marks or something. I was not able to write that 2000 words. I got stuck. After 45 minutes, you know what I did for next 20 minutes? That was that big gallery classroom was there. I don't know whether you know what is a gallery classroom. There'll be this kind of a projected kind of a classroom where I was sitting in the last row, which means that everyone was visible to me. I was able to see everyone. And I saw everybody was writing. I could not. I knew what to write, but my hands were not moving. That was the day I realized you might be intelligent, you might be gifted. That doesn't guarantee success in this exam. It doesn't guarantee success in life also. A classical example is Vinod Kambli and Sachin Tendulkar. I always tell this. Be that as it may. Then what did I do the next attempt? I'll tell you that also I'll have to tell. No? In that attempt, my essay score was around 93 out of 250, which was okay for that year because that was the first year when this pattern and all had changed. It was fine, but then still pretty bad score. The next year when I had written the exam, the year in which I cleared and everything, in between that time, I would have written some 60 to 70 essays, practiced it. The next year when I wrote the exam, my essay score changed from 93 to 150. Same individual. What changed there? Now I know what it is to write on any topic. I did not study the English language afresh. I was already pretty decent in it. But what I did was I left my arrogance aside. I was like, okay, come back to LKG again. You will have to sit and write. You're able to see this difference? This is the difference. Same thing happened in sociology also. My optional was also sociology. First year when I wrote sociology, my score was, I did not do even one answer writing, nothing. My score was pretty bad. The next year, the year in which I cleared, I topped sociology throughout the country. That year, I got the highest score in sociology. Not that I want applause from you people, not that. But the point that I'm trying to make is, you might be ultra intelligent, you might be very good with the English language, you might be an extempore, next generation Shashi Tharoor, doesn't matter, right? You might use a lot of good words, doesn't matter. What ultimately matters is, in those 3 hours, are you able to answer the question that they're asking? So that's why for essay or for anything, it requires a really good work wherein you sit and write down those things. Got it? So this is a live example that I have seen just in my own preparation, and I hope that answered your question.
All right. Thank you very much, Srivatsan sir and Akash Garg sir. Your insights were truly helpful for our audience. And yes, first the session was houseful, and now slowly audience were going away. But still, some of you are still here. Thank you very much, and that means a lot. And our speakers also were so much patiently answering every question till the last moment. And for this, Akash Garg sir, we are very grateful for your help and kindness. We are truly grateful for your generosity. Could we please clap for him? And the online
Thank
participants
you very much.
react with the heart symbol. And here we have Srivatsan sir also patiently answering. And may I request Shashwat to please give him a token of gratitude. And thank you very much, friends, for patiently staying till the last moment. And I'm Johan Ashish, the Vice President of Adhyay Society, signing off. Thank you all.
Yeah, Akash Bhaiya, we'll meet you in Delhi and deliver your goodies too.
No
Don't we hope.
issues, sir. No problem, sir. I am in Delhi. You can anytime come.
And so next year, we would hope to see you on campus offline.
Yeah, definitely. I could have come here, but actually I have to go somewhere tomorrow, so that's why I could not come. But definitely I would have loved to come. You are my dream यार. IIT was my dream. तो ये है मेरे साथ तो. I would have definitely come if I was in. If I was free tomorrow, I would have definitely come here. No problem.
Sure. Looking forward. Thank you very much.
Yeah, okay.
On this note, I announce the closure of this session. Thank you all.
Unnecessary, man. It's okay. If any, if mentor